I didn't draw for 15 years. I completely stopped. That's actually the hardest question so far.
Hi, I'm Pleasure Nerd, and I'm here with Lorna Keller.
Hello!
Today we're just going to have a chit chat. We've got some of the questions that you've sent through, and I've written more. Whether we'll get through them all is a completely different question. First and most important question is, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm fine.
Great. Now that we've got that out of the way.
Right, moving on. When did you start getting into art? What kind of age?
Um, so I did draw a little bit when I was younger. And it wasn't really until I got into secondary school that we had a really good art teacher. Like, she was really good, but she was absolutely terrifying. But she was really, really good at pushing like the fundamentals of art. So she would go through things like the actual values of things, and you'd have to do the scales and all of that kind of stuff with the values. And her passion for art was just really infectious. Like, I just thought she was incredible in how she cared about the subject, and I hadn't really experienced that with any teacher before. So she kind of introduced us to loads of different artists at the time, and we would do kind of projects based around those artists. And that's kind of when I started to develop an interest in it. And yeah, so it kind of started there, and it moved. I moved schools quite a few times, but I moved through schools, and I was interested. Some teachers were not as good, unfortunately, where my passion kind of just went back down again. And then when I left school, I stopped drawing for 15 years. I didn't draw for 15 years. I completely stopped. So it was only then when I was like in my late 20s that I realized, hey, I need a hobby. I'm getting towards my 30s and I don't really have any decent hobbies. That's interesting. So
Mm.
I started drawing again, and I wasn't consistent. I was just kind of up and down because it was like learning all over again, which is really difficult. And yeah, just to cut a long story short, it's really been probably the past 10 years where I started kind of really focusing on drawing again. And the past 3 years is when I've been consistently drawing, like at least, once a week, but it's actually more realistically every day that I've been drawing. So yeah.
With drawing every day, do you, because for some people it's like I want to say like a manual process, like they have to think about drawing every day, or is it something where it just kind of like you feel wrong unless you draw?
It actually depends. Because this is my job, there's also that added element of I have to do this. And sometimes that can take away the want to do it just because I know I have to do it.
Hmm.
So before, so when I came back to the drawing, like let's say 10 years ago, it was a genuine love and joy and excitement. Every single day that I got to draw, I was so excited to do it. And it's not that I don't feel that anymore, because I do feel it. And when I'm drawing, I'm happy. But there are some days where I might wake up and I'm like, I'm not in the mood today. I'd like to have a break, but I also have to pay the bills. So there's this kind of balance sometimes. It's like you kind of have to shift your mindset if you're having one of those days. Either
Hmm.
if it's a really bad day, I won't draw. I'll take the day off and be like, I can't force this. Like, I can't actually force myself to draw. Otherwise, I'm going to hate that I'm doing this as
Yeah.
my job. And so I'll take the day off. And then there's other days where I just need that little nudge. I just need that little, persuasion. I have to figure out a way to be like, hey, Lorna, you really want to draw today? Let's figure out how you're going to do it. And then I'll draw. So it really depends on how I'm feeling. So it's an odd one, but yeah.
With that, like, how do you continue to find the joy now that it's your job? Because I know if you don't do that, it can very quickly lead to burnout.
I think one of the things that's really helped is having a Patreon,
Mm.
because I have a community there who I obviously connect with, daily. So, I have my tier system, but I also actually have a community chat that's available for anyone. Like, you don't have to be a paid member. It's a free membership, and I chat with people on there every day, and I share my art with them, whatever I'm doing at the time, and people can share their art with me. And so it's kind of like knowing that you have people that are waiting to see your art, and people that you can go and see their art, it kind of makes it more like it's not my job in a
Yeah.
way. Yeah, like it's not like I
Like the
feel less
community
alone.
aspect.
Yeah, I feel less alone because when you're doing this as a job, you can feel very, very alone, and it is a lonely job. I'm here every day in my room drawing, and I am on my own for most of the day. And for me to kind of feel like this is, to take away that aspect of it being a job,
Mm.
I need to have a community aspect. So that has really, really, really helped. I've had it 2 years now, and I've found I am more consistent and showing up for myself and having less of those days where I don't want to draw ever since I have started with my community aspect of my Patreon.
That makes sense. So that's kind of motivating because I know I certainly have friends who used to be very creative and then have taken quite a long break due to school or just life,
Mm-hmm.
and they're finding it hard to what they refer to as finding that motivation
Yeah,
to draw, and they're almost like bullying themselves
yeah,
into trying to get back into it.
yeah.
And it sounds like for you as well, that's not the way to
No,
approach it.
I've
Of
been
like,
there. I've
yeah,
been there, the whole feeling guilty, yeah, the bullying, kind of bullying myself into doing it, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And what has happened, like I said, like 3 years, I've been fully consistent. Before that, between, the 10 years up to up to that 3 years, I had taken many, many breaks of not drawing in that time. So I took a whole year off. I didn't draw a single thing in that year because I was putting so much pressure on myself, and it just doesn't work. And if I haven't felt that in a long time, thankfully, but if I did start to feel in that way, I have better ways of dealing with it now because I've already gone through that, and I know the things that work for me that will just help me get through it. So
that's sort of the Patreon, that's the community aspect, that's just sort
yeah,
of speaking and
yeah,
I guess interacting with other artists is really what
absolutely.
kind of helps with
It does.
working through that.
It does, because like I'm a really open book when it comes to how I feel about my art and how I feel about how it affects me. Like across my social media over the past couple of years, I'll always say I really struggled with this, or I was having a really bad day, or I took a break because this was really tough. But particularly so with my Patreon, if I'm struggling with something, I actually put it out there, and it helps because I know other people are dealing with these feelings too, and maybe they
Mm.
feel like, oh, it's just me who feels this way, or
Yeah.
not every artist feels this way, but we all feel this way at some point in the other, or the other. We do feel that way, and it feels so much better to actually say it,
Yeah,
and then keep it all
100%.
in.
Well, I think it's, sorry, not to go on too much of a
No.
tangent, but when social media is a highlight reel, some of that is purely because we can't film the entire process of us spending hours searching for references,
Yeah,
right? Like that kind of element of, oh yeah, no, I spent 3.5 hours on Pinterest and Adobe Stock trying to find the
yeah,
perfect
hmm,
pose and figure out the lighting and
yeah,
all of that. And all of the sort of background elements, if there are any, that's really boring to watch
yeah,
because
exactly.
it's kind of boring for us.
I know it's the worst.
And so by the time people sort of see the process, it's often once a sketch has been done,
Mm,
because a sketch can take 7 attempts or more.
yeah, exactly.
Like it's such a ongoing process.
Yeah.
And there's an element, certainly for me, and I've seen it with other artists as well, of like, I don't want people to know just how much I've struggled with this
Mm,
element because it feels small.
yeah.
For anyone watching, it's really common to just struggle. Like, you're not going to be on it all the time. You're not going to feel, gosh, I can't, like, waking up every day, like, gee, I can't wait to start drawing. Sometimes you're like, I want to throw the paintbrush or the pencil across the
Yeah.
room. I want to throw the sketchbook. I want to throw everything. It's
Yeah.
not working. Why can't I draw this hand? You have a cup of tea and then you can draw it. And you're like, what changed?
And there's something you said there that also I think hits upon the stigma of references as well. How
Mm.
people, I feel like maybe it's not as bad as it used to be,
Yeah.
maybe like 5 years ago, maybe a little bit more. People using references was just like, I want to hide that I'm using references because it's taboo. Like,
Yeah.
I can't be using references, you know? But I think people are a lot more open about it now as well. And I like to make sure that I'm always open. Like, this is a study. This is not from my imagination. I cannot draw completely from my imagination. Like, I
Mm.
do not have that level of creativity. Not all the time. Most of the time, I'm going to be using reference, and I'm going to let you know I'm using reference, and I'm going to put that reference there for you to see. So it's like, yeah, it's like a highlight reel. You know, you don't see all of the things that we're actually struggling with, and we make it look easy when in fact it's really not easy at all. Here's a subscriber question. Do you have any interesting or unusual workaround when the art isn't arting or when the medium isn't cooperating?
I throw a tantrum. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh yes, of course. I mean, sometimes I've recorded myself doing it. I'll make a mistake, and it'll be like, oh God, I need to make this work. How do I make this work? Let's just go with it. It's now part of the design. Sometimes you can overwork by doing that. But yeah, so when the medium isn't mediuming, like for me, gouache really is deeply frustrating to use.
Mm,
I find it a chalky version of watercolor,
mm.
and I can't seem to get it to be beautiful and thick like I see other people doing, and I don't know what I am doing wrong. It's one of these things. I get clumps, and I'm like, what is going on? Why am I not doing this correctly? And it might be some of my stuff is out of date. That's very fair. I got some new stuff, did the same thing. I am deeply frustrated by gouache. And at some point, when I feel good, if I ever need to like mediate my mood, if I'm in too good a mood, I'll do some gouache. Just get very frustrated. But yeah, generally speaking, something's not working. I've had a few videos where I've managed to, in fact, one of my most recent ones, where I recorded myself realizing I had messed up and was deeply annoyed at myself. The most recent one, I had used the same colour twice in a row, single alcohol marker series. My hope was to scan them all and then do a giant poster or like series of posters with each colour and a portrait in each colour of my of my marker collection. The issue is that I put two of the same colour in a row, and the extra frustrating part about that was that I had separated the markers that I had used from the markers I hadn't used, and I still picked up the wrong marker. And I'm so still
That's
really
so,
mad at myself because
yeah.
it's such a good drawing.
My favorite part was is on the actual same page as well.
You can see it in the top corner. And it was as soon as I wrote the color, and I was like, what? So when the art isn't arting, I have to take a step away
Yeah.
because to be more serious. Because if I don't, my frustration will come out on the page.
Yeah.
It won't be as good. Like I know I will personally feel that frustration whenever I look at that piece again. So I just take a step back, whether that's like an hour, whether that's, you know, the amount of time it takes to make a cup of tea because I am British and a cup of tea is essential for every scenario.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It will make everything better. But if even a cup of tea doesn't cure it, waiting a day, giving myself some time just to calm down is really helpful. Or I move on to something completely different.
Yeah.
So I can still, if I've got a period of time where I'm like, I need to be productive, I've only got, say, 2 hours to spend doing art. For example, the marker pens are not marker penning. They've decided to be little brats for that time. What I'll do instead is I'll start sketching out other drawings, other future things, and doing studies so that that time isn't completely wasted.
Yeah.
And I find it often happens when I do commissions, is
Right.
that
Yeah.
I really get in my head.
Yeah.
about how it has to look like the
Same.
person,
Yeah.
and I start internally freaking out.
Yeah.
So the best thing for me to do is do a quick sketch, even if it's working or not, give it some time, do another quick sketch, and then usually that gets out the jitters and the nerves, and I go forward. What about yourself? Do you have any unusual techniques that don't involve throwing all your toys out the pram, like myself?
Well, actually, no. So I don't do, apart from, okay, so what you said about commissions. So when it comes to art that is it's not for me, okay? It's actually for someone. It's important that it's right. So I have a completely different mindset, and it's quite similar to yours in that if it's not working out, or I'm overthinking it, I'm worrying about it, or like there's some stressful element to it that I'm not looking forward to as part of the process, I will take a break from it. And there have been times where I've taken a couple of days that I need to. I actually can't bring myself to come to the commission and start it or move on to the next stage because I'm overthinking it too much. So I give myself enough time to kind of process that and be like, okay, I've had my time, and I've obviously been drawing in the meantime in between. I'm ready to go back to it, and I won't start it until I'm ready, because there's no point going in, forcing myself to do it, making mistakes, and then I'd be even more stressed having to restart the process all over again. So that's how I would approach that situation. But when it comes to my personal art or any other art that I'm doing, I actually don't care if it's not working out. And this isn't something I've had to train myself. And I might have trained myself too far in that I let things go all the time. Whereas before, I was so like really pedantic and just really everything had to be perfect. And it would bother me so much if it wasn't perfect. But now I've gotten to the stage where when I'm using my sketchbook, and it's this one, like my messy sketchbook, ever since I started using this particular sketchbook, my mindset has changed so much, but in a healthy way for me mentally. So if I'm struggling while I'm drawing in this sketchbook, I don't abandon what I'm doing. I just keep going until it's finished. And even if I don't like the result, I'm just like, it's done though. I've done it. I don't have to like it. It's just my kind of safe place to get my art down and to practice or whatever it is I want to do. And I'll move on. And it doesn't actually sit in my brain. I don't think about it. And it's taken a long time for me to get to that point. I have worked hard to get to this point. Really, really hard. Because I think this is one of those things a lot of people struggle with, actually, is that
It
if
definitely
their
is.
art is not coming out on the page the way they want it to, or the way they thought it would, that they start to freak out, or they get upset, or they hate it, and they get all this awful feelings. And I had that so much that it's taken like this long, probably in the past year, I've really gotten to this mindset where it's like, it's okay. It's okay that it's not perfect. It's fine. Even if I'm not entirely enjoying the process, at least I've done something. I've put it out there, and I can move on then. So that's kind of how I approach it with that. So it's complete. It depends on the situation. It depends on what I'm drawing, but it's two extremes actually. It's like give yourself the break. You know, walk away from it. It's fine. You can come back to it when it's all good. And then the other side is like just do it. It's fine. If it's rubbish, don't worry about it and just move on. It's fine.
It depends on where you're at, whether you need to take a step back
Yeah.
or be like, this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world if it's terrible. I know that I've developed the mindset of like, if it's bad, that was a lesson learned.
Yes.
And the lesson was, don't do that drawing again. Don't do exactly what we did there. That did
Yeah.
not work out. Maybe next
Or
time,
you
tweak
could
it.
do it again and just see what happens. Hope for the
Yeah.
best.
But I feel each time you learn, and I'm very much a firm believer that art is a skill. Certainly drawing, hand-eye coordination, which is a fine motor skill. The more you do it, the better you will get.
Yeah.
So, and I've learnt to draw faster because that stopped me overthinking.
Yeah.
So a lot of the drawings that I'm known for on sort of social media were done within 20 minutes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was purely from an art exercise, which has subsequently helped me develop so much faster. The faster you work, the more you do, and the quicker you'll improve.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to improve constantly. Like it's not required
Yeah.
to be valuable as an artist. You
No.
can spend as long as you want or need on a piece. But for me personally, the longer I have on a piece, the more likely it is I will overwork it. You lose that like expressive nature.
The
I was
energy.
going to say brush strokes, but I don't use brushes with markers.
Well, you can
But
kind
you
of call them
lose some of that.
brushes.
But you lose some of that like texture.
Yeah.
I think some of it as well, like with social media, we have, not to go on a social media rant, I promise it won't be, but I feel like artists, I'm thinking of the masters in particular, they got to be bad in private.
Yeah.
They, like, if they were doing, they got to develop their craft in private or with another master who was teaching them, or like another artist who taught them. They got to be privately terrible. Much like social media is a highlight reel, they got to just present the great work and be like, I'm incredible.
Yeah.
This is me. I did all of this all by myself with no help whatsoever. And then you learn that they actually had a bunch of apprentices that did most of it.
Yeah.
So I've got another question for you.
Okay.
So you're quite well known for your digital art in addition to your marker art as well.
Mm-hmm.
When you started, did you start in digital or did you start more traditional and then move over and sort of jump between the two?
So I'm not going to include obviously when I was a kid because digital art didn't exist when I was a kid. I'm that old. It didn't exist. But when I came back to art, I was really inspired by Loish and Art Jam and all of these like digital artists. I couldn't believe the kind of art that they were making with digital tools. And I think that is also one of the reasons that prompted me to get back into art in the first place. So when I came back to art, I started digitally. And I had to learn completely from scratch because I'd never touched a tablet in my life before. So I actually used YouTube to learn Photoshop, how to use it for art purposes, whatever. And that was my obsession. Like, it was an obsession. Like, there's no denying it. I would be drawing 10 hours a day, non-stop. This is before I had kids, so it was okay. I could do that.
When you had time.
Yeah. And yeah, I didn't even think about traditional art for a long time. That was really my main focus. And it's only really in the past, let me see, like I would occasionally do maybe sketches with like pencil or whatever, but not that often. But it's only, let's say, in the past 3 years maybe, yeah, 4 years, when I started using my Copic markers. I was like, maybe I should use these. I've had them a long time and they're just sitting there and they're expensive. Like, I spent a lot of money on them. I better use them. I started using them and I realized this is actually really fun. Why haven't I been doing this? Why have I been limiting myself to just one medium when there's so many others out there that I actually own? So I started using the Copic markers, and I think from there onwards, it shifted then from 100% digital art, and then it was gradually going over to traditional until I was then almost 100% traditional art again. So it's funny how these changes can happen, and you can completely forget an art medium that you love by replacing it with something else. because it's all fancy and new and exciting. And
Yeah.
that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. And it was kind of like only the past like year or so, I was like, I haven't really been making a lot of digital art and I love digital art. So then I started going back to digital art. I'm like, why have I been limiting myself and not doing digital art? So yeah, it's interesting. It's a constant transition with
Mm.
me because I get obsessed like very quickly and easily and hyper focused on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to kind of spread myself amongst all these different mediums, and I have to have a focus, and that's what happens with me. But I'm trying now to have a more balanced approach because I do enjoy both of them a lot, they have different things to offer. So yeah, at this moment in time, I am doing both equally, which is great, because there's more for me to enjoy, I think,
Yeah.
you know?
There's more to
Yeah,
do and more fun to
yeah,
have when you've got like it's not see it a lot online where it's like one versus the other and it's like, nah mate, we're all in the same pen here.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
we're all little kids just playing with our toys.
Yeah.
What is your favorite art supply and what is your least favorite art supply?
Oh, it's funny that that's actually the hardest question so far.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard to answer that. Okay, so at this moment in time, my favorite art supply would be acrylic markers. Yes, because I've just been using them nonstop. They are really versatile, like because I really, really enjoy alcohol markers and I've been
Hmm.
using them really consistently the past couple of years. But when I started using the acrylic pens, I really enjoy that. I'm not okay, so I'm not a painter. I'm not very good at painting. I don't know how to control the flow of paint, how much to dilute it, all of these things. How to hold a brush properly, even, what type of brush to use. There's just so
Yeah.
many elements to painting and the types of paint as well. So I've always wanted to paint, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to invest the time to learn how to paint.
Yeah. I
Soon,
get
though,
that.
that is something I want to do. But right now, but with the acrylic pens, everything's already ready for you. So the consistency of the paint is how it should be. You have a paintbrush as such, it's a nib, and I find it so versatile and enjoyable to use. There's no
Yeah.
stress, and if you make a mistake, you can go over it with another color because it's opaque. So, and you can, it's quick as well. Like, I think I can work quickly with it, and that's so important to my process in anything I do is like I want to work quickly like I
Hmm.
want most of my stuff to be done, in less than 20 minutes because I don't have as much time as I used to, I only
Yeah.
have certain sections of my day where I can actually, make art. So the fact that I can do this while using a medium that seems to suit me across every level is why I'm really enjoying it right now. So, and I think maybe that's why I really enjoy the acrylic pens right now is that I don't have to actually use my brain as much.
Hmm.
I don't have to like plan or think ahead. It's just like if it doesn't work out, I can just go over it with another color and worry about all of those, lights at the end or highlights or, anything like that. I don't need to worry about it. I'll just do it when it's time to do it. So
Yeah.
that could be another reason why it's just everything just flows as it's happening in my brain rather than
Hmm.
planning ahead, which doesn't always happen. So, yes, that's the
Chaos
benefit.
process is kind of where we're both at, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your least favorite art supply?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. Um, uh,
I'm trying to think of
what do
one
I
that
not
I
really
find
use?
ratty. And at the
Um,
moment, it's alcohol markers, but I also really like them.
yeah. Maybe I'm looking around looking for something to help me. It's hard to know when you're not using stuff regularly, because I don't use things I don't like. I'll just use the
Yeah.
things I like. So I'm trying to think of all the things I've ever used and what I didn't enjoy. And like this kind of really generic stuff that people don't use that often. Like I don't really see people using chalk
Yeah.
pastels anymore. Like you don't see that on social media. I don't feel like I see anyone really using chalks a lot. And maybe there's a reason why. Maybe it's because they
They
suck
get everywhere. They're very difficult to fix.
and they're difficult to control. Could be the same with like oil pastels, but I don't have a good set of oil pastels, so it could be that. I think they're too hard, so they're
Okay,
not.
I've never really used oil pastels. Like the last time I used them, I was something like 11, and
Yeah,
they were so annoying, and
yeah,
I didn't know what I was doing
yeah.
wrong.
So that's too hard a question because I just don't use the things I don't like. And I don't think I experiment enough to know what I don't like. I just like to stay in my happy little comfort zone and use all of the supplies I love because that keeps me happy. But yeah, I would say any sort of kind of chalk, pastels, anything like that, that can be messy, hard to clean up, hard to control. If I was going to say paints, I would probably say any kind of paint actually, because I don't want to have to set up the paint. I don't want to have to clean during use, constantly cleaning the brush, making a mess everywhere. It takes so long. It stresses me out the thought of it actually, but I want to be able to paint like I said earlier. I really want to be able to, but the time it takes to set
Because
it
the
all up
hardest
and
thing
use
about
it.
paints for me is
Yeah.
letting them dry.
Yeah, that too.
I think
So
that's why I like alcohol markers, because they dry
yeah,
so quick.
yeah. So mm,
Whereas, yeah, paints, especially watercolor, you have to let it dry down completely
yeah,
if you want to sort of properly build. And I am not a patient woman.
these are my. That's why I can't do it. So what is that your least favorite then?
No, mine is white gel pens.
Why?
Even though I use them all the time,
No way.
the white is not the kind of white I want. I can't find a gel pen. I can't find a white pen
Mm,
that is the white that I want.
okay.
And it's because you can't really get a neutral white. So you can get like slightly warm toned whites, so they're like more creamy.
Mm,
And then you can get like slightly cold toned whites. And you can't get that like proper neutral white. And something that I've noticed with a lot of my alcohol marker drawings is that over time the colour will change
mm,
of the white gel pen. So when I first sort of use them, it's a nice kind of brilliant white. And then as it dries down, sometimes I think it like absorbs the colour from the
yeah,
alcohol
it
marker.
does. Yeah,
And I've had it where it's turned like light pink. And I'm
yeah,
like, what are you doing? You were meant to be white.
yeah.
And like another time, like I've added white close to the paper
Mm,
and it's a completely different white. Like
yeah.
it's much more cream on a page that's already kind of creamy. It's not a white.
Mm,
It's that winds me up. Like when I think about it, when I really go into like that finite detail, it
yeah.
winds me up so much. Like I have a bunch of white, I've even got some white ink that I need to try out to see if that is the same.
Mm,
But yeah, I know I'm known for that like juicy, like overly. Some people think it's overly highlighted. I see the reference. I know where the catch lights are.
yeah.
But so just in case people weren't aware, you get highlights around your nose there. If you look really closely
Mm-hmm.
in pictures and stuff, if you've got a light on you, you will naturally get highlighted around the edges of your nose.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't notice because it's like a really tiny amount.
Yeah.
But as soon as you do that in like a monochromatic, it really stands out. And I find that fascinating.
But actually, there's something I wanted to ask you in relation to that. It just of all of the gel pens you've used, then
Mm.
what's the best one that you have that you think
The
is the
one that
best?
I use the most is the Jelly Roll gel
Yeah,
pen.
it's the same. Yeah, yeah.
I used to use the Posca
Mm-hmm.
acrylic paint pen,
Mm-hmm.
and then it leaked all
Yeah,
over. It wasn't one of my like little portraits, but it was a different thing, and it just left this giant blob of paint, and I was like, I am never using you for this ever again.
fair. That's fair.
But what I have found with the Jelly Roll pens is that sometimes they just won't do
Roll.
anything. They won't, like, they begin and you're like, oh, wonderful, lovely and juicy white pen. And
Yeah,
then you get like maybe a
streaks.
second of it, and then they're like, no, I'm not doing anything. Like,
Yeah,
scribble, scribble. No, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, I find it can look like a trail. Like
Yeah.
there's like in the middle is gone, and it's just like two lines right beside each other. It can do that as well.
And you look at the thing and you're like, you're almost like,
Yeah,
you've got so much left to live.
yeah, I know. It's annoying. Have you tried using other
I
pen
have. I've
pens?
tried like really, really fine ones and they do the same. I think it's an
Okay.
issue with like rollerball pens.
Yeah, okay.
Um, and I'm just trying to think of some of the other ones. I've got like a fine liner one that's similar, but that is like zero point 0.2 or zero point 0.2.
Oh, that's tiny.
And it's really fine
Yeah.
and not very good for like bigger areas, which is what I like doing. So far, Jelly Roll has really been the only one that does what I need it to do.
Yeah.
I've got some white ink that at some point I need to experiment with alcohol markers to see
Mm,
if it will try and seep through
yeah.
or if it will do what I want it to do. Because if I do that, I've got like a dip pen that I can
Yeah.
use and try with that. But yeah, at the moment it's Jelly Roll because that's really the only good option I've found. Like,
Okay.
well, I say good,
Yeah.
doable
Yeah.
option. So, for people who don't know, Lorna began in the sciences. She mentioned she had like a big break in her art journey. So, she went and studied science and then got a job there and then since quit and became a full-time artist.
Mm.
So, one of your subscribers has very kindly asked, what made you leap from the sciences to the arts?
Um, I just hated my job. Simple answer. I think I was feeling really unfulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's not that I didn't hate my jobs per se, like, but my jobs were actually pretty good. But I noticed a trend was happening where I kept quitting jobs and going into, like, I thought, oh, maybe it's just this particular job. Maybe if it was a different job in a different kind of science sector. So I worked in an agricultural science place. Then I worked in a manufacturing for like an alcohol company. Then I worked for a biopharmaceutical place that did medicines for dogs. Then I went back and worked for another big company for energy drinks. And I think I thought if I was going to slightly different places, I would find more fulfillment in the kind of roles that I was doing. But it turned out that I think I realized in my last job, it was more a case of I love science. You know, I love, I just love the, everything is kind of black and white. You know what you know, you have data to back it up. And that's what I love about it. And that's what I've always loved about it. I just like that element of it being either right or wrong. And I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it got to the point where I was just, yeah, it's really hard to explain exactly how I felt about it. I felt like I wasn't making any kind of a difference and it didn't really matter what I was doing.
Yeah.
No one would ever remember that I've done this. Not that I'm trying to say, oh, I'm going to make a name for myself, I'm going to make it big, and everyone's going to remember my name. It's not about that. It's about feeling fulfilled in what you're doing. And it kind of got to a point where I was like, I keep quitting these jobs for some reason. And I don't think it's the jobs, I think it's me.
Yeah.
It's me. There's something going on here. I think I realize, and I'd just been really getting back into art as well, as in more consistently getting back into art. And I figured, you know what? When I come home from work every day, and obviously I see my family, I'm really happy to see them, but I really want to make art. And my socials were starting to kind of pick up a bit around that time as well. And I was getting kind of busier and I was getting commissions and things like that. And this is something, I cannot stress this enough, okay, because it's not all, a flighty kind of thing that I decided I'm just going to quit my job forever. Like, I'm never going to go back and do that again. But I had the support of my husband, both, his actual support, and this is what I want to do, but also the financial support in case it didn't work out. And that is such a big thing. I don't know if it's really put out there other people who kind of take the leap from a full-time career, that people don't do this if they're in a situation where they can't afford to do it. You know, it's really, really important, you know. So I had the backing that way for me to actually make the leap. Otherwise, I would never have done it. You know, if I didn't have that kind of, especially the financial support, you know, like, I mean,
Hmm.
it's going to put us in a situation where we couldn't pay the bills, and obviously I would never have done it. But because I had the option, and it's like, okay, so do I take the leap and do this, and it'll increase my happiness, and it'll increase, you know, how fulfilled I feel about the work that I do. I think it's worth it. And my husband thought it was worth it too. So that's how that happened. And I think it was subconsciously happening every time I was quitting a job. I knew this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing with my life.
Yeah.
Life is so short, and I don't think this is what I want to do. Despite loving the field, I don't think this is what I should be doing, you know? So so yeah, that's kind of how it came about. It was kind of the realization from kind of moving quickly through these jobs that I knew that I had to be doing art as my job. Yeah, it's kind of a weird one. It's there's a lot of stuff behind this. It's kind of like a lot of, you know, my mental health and stuff, but I don't want to
Yeah.
get too deep into that, but that's really where the kind of trigger point was, you know, and having to decide what was
Mental,
right. Yeah.
emotional, and then you
Yeah.
have the financial and
Yeah.
emotional support from your
Yeah.
husband to
Yeah.
be able to take that leap.
Exactly, yeah. So it's I was very lucky actually. I was a
Hmm.
very, very lucky situation to be in, because not many people can probably, you know, make that decision based
Yeah.
on those things. So I was incredibly lucky. And, you know, it's still difficult though. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that
Oh,
even
it's
doing this as
never
a
going to
job
be a
is easy.
cakewalk.
No, it's not, because now it's like when you're in a regular job, you have a consistent paycheck, you know, you're
Hmm.
getting paid, and that'll always be there. But now it's like, okay, I used to work, you know, a 9 to 5, but now I work so much more. It's
Yeah.
almost 24/7 in a sense, because your brain doesn't stop. It's like, this is my business now. I have to make this work. What do I need to do to make this work? So it's I don't want to glamorize it or romanticize it, because it's not like that either. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard work. It's harder work. For sure, it's harder work. So I want to put that out there.
Harder, but more fulfilling.
But more fulfilling, because it's all mine.
Yeah.
Everything here is mine. It's all me. So yes, there's a lot of things you have to think about, I think, when weighing up your options.
100%.
Okay.
So, burnout is a very popular topic amongst artists. I'm sure at one point we've all kind of felt it to a degree. I know as a culture, everyone's kind of feeling a bit burnt out right now. What does burnout look like to you? What do you do to either get yourself out of burnout or try and prevent burnout from happening in the first place?
Okay, so I've gone through burnout quite a lot, and it manifests in different ways for me. But I noticed mainly what would happen is I would hate the thought of drawing. The thoughts of it actually would just make me feel ill. And that's how I know that the full on burnout and art block is soon to happen, is because I'm getting these feelings of anxiety around drawing. And then I know, okay, this is going to kick up a gear, and I'm going to end up
Mhm.
drawing for a long time. And that is what has happened to me. And it did happen, and I let it happen because I had no way of dealing with it. I didn't know how to effectively deal with it. So this is what I was talking about with the year gap when I didn't draw. And there were other gaps, like maybe 3 month gaps and 6 month gaps. So, you know, in the past 10 years that I've been drawing, there's actually been probably about 2 to 3 years interspersed where I haven't drawn at all. And that's because I didn't know how to effectively deal with or recognize that I was going through burnout. So now looking back, I can see what was happening was, it's going to sound awful, social media was a lot of that for me, I
Yeah.
think, because my following was increasing, which I then put this expectation on myself that I had to always be there. and be uploading and put my art out there. And if it wasn't good enough, then I'd be worrying about it. And I don't have any ideas. I don't have any ideas now. Then the art block is just like that. Then nothing, like nothing's going on in the brain. There's no creativity. There's no want to draw. And I think I put too much stock in the social media aspect rather than me doing it because it's what I enjoy doing. It was
Yeah.
more like a performative thing. It has to be for a reason rather
Yeah.
than because I want to do it. And I think the breaks that I took was probably needed, even though they were long breaks, okay? Because I think if I'd forced myself to come back any sooner, I would have fallen into the same pattern. I would have fallen into the same issues. And I think having the break gave me the time I needed to kind of reassess what the actual issue is, and it was with me and my expectations upon myself. But again, at the same time, that's very excessive, taking a year off. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone unless you are severely struggling and maybe there's other things, other elements that are impacting you on top of that. It's things you need to recognize about yourself and your life, I think. But
Yeah.
now, burnout for me is very different. It doesn't happen, and I think it's because I have this healthier mindset about my art and how consistent I've been, I think. So, like I said with the whole Patreon thing, it's very easy to slip into burnout because I have people paying for a subscription, and it's like I have to make sure I have content for people. And
Yeah.
that can be a little bit like that would be my one thing that might trigger a bit of stress because I know there's people who are paying for something and I don't want people to not have what they're paying for. So I have to be very mindful of that. But at the same time, I try not to overthink it because then I will go into an art block. Now, I haven't had art block in 2 years, maybe 3 years. That's a long.
That's
I
fantastic.
I can't believe it, and I'm touching wood because I'm like I'm going to
I'll
jinx
touch wood for
myself.
you.
I'm going to jinx myself, but I haven't had art block, and I think that's all to do with drawing for enjoyment
Yeah.
over anything else. And that's the whole thing I was saying about my sketchbook and not caring about what happens in it because it's just my sketchbook. I practice, I get what I need done in there. I enjoy it. I upload it. If people don't like it, big deal. I don't care. I don't care. If people want to enjoy it, they can. If they don't want to enjoy it, I don't care. Like, you don't have to look at it. But I wouldn't have had that mindset 5+ years ago. It would have it would have torn me apart if someone had put a negative comment about something I had drawn, and that would set me off. So it's burnout doesn't happen because I'm so consistent with my workflow and I work quickly and I enjoy it more that there's so much less stress attached to it. And I think that's what's really helped me avoiding art block or any sort of burnout.
Yeah. So to kind of try and summarize, it's focusing on the joy,
Yeah, yeah,
recognizing those early signs of burnout for yourself,
yeah, it is.
leaning into your community as much as possible.
Yeah,
And then I guess as a kind of key thing is just finding the joy, still doing commissions, still doing what
yeah,
you need with the social media, but taking that step back
yeah,
from it, relying less on outside
yeah,
validation as well.
absolutely.
A key element of that is that it's not for everyone. Your art, you shouldn't try and appease everyone because you won't.
Yeah,
Something like, I think my favorite phrase, I can't remember where it's from, but you could be the juiciest peach, juiciest, most delicious peach. People still don't like peaches.
yeah,
Like, you could be the very best at what you do. You could be peak performance. You could be the most charming person on the planet. People still won't like you. And acknowledging and accepting that, just let it roll off you.
yeah. You have to be really comfortable and develop a thick skin whenever you put yourself out there on social media. Like, you just have to accept things for how they are, and that's just the way it is. Yeah,
And you don't have to tolerate
yeah,
bullying.
That's
You
really
can
it.
block button is there for a reason.
It's so good. I love it. Hang on. What about how do you deal with burnout?
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, you answer the
So
question too.
a lot of my burnout tends to come from the emotional side.
Mm,
Well, I've been having a really hard time with my day job. I find that if I am scared or worried or angry or sad, I can't create. And trying to create through that causes me to have a lot of resentment, which will then spark that burnout cycle for me. Something I've also found is that, like, when I feel like I can't draw or create, I find switching mediums is really helpful because it's just a different area of the brain,
mm,
and it's not the same, so there's less pressure on it.
mm.
So I tend to sort of switch from traditional to pixel art, or I'll do some sculpture, or my friend has recently got me into needle felting, which is a delightfully aggressive hobby. You get to stab wool until it thickens. It's wonderful. Um, but sort of switching it up with
Mm,
other things really helps me to get out of my head
yeah,
and more into the thing. And when it comes to the emotional side of it, having to actually address that emotional element for me is really important because I can't move beyond it. So with my ADHD, part of ADHD is that I feel my emotions way stronger than typical people. It is a pain in the bum. I
yeah.
do not like that.
Hmm.
But it does mean that when I'm happy, I'm very, very happy. But that just feels neutral for me. And I didn't realize that until this work situation, that my neutral is generally quite happy. Like, I was finding that I couldn't record audio anymore because I was hearing the sadness in my voice. And I know that my online presence is very joyful and giggly and fun. And I didn't want to bring that
Yeah.
into it.
Mm,
So yeah, it's, as you were saying, like finding the fun, finding the joy, finding out what's triggering that burnout. Is
mm,
it that I'm trying to overwork myself or try and force myself to make something
yeah.
when I am just not in the right place for it?
Yeah.
Is it like, am I overthinking a medium? Do I need a change of scenery?
Mm,
So yeah, trying to get that and then pulling myself out of burnout is honestly giving myself time,
yeah. Yeah.
whether that's like taking a break from socials, whether that's
Mm,
like, so for about 2 months, I didn't make anything recently. Like, I did a lot of stuff on business cards, like blank business cards, but I wasn't actually doing any of the pieces that I normally do. And I was finding that frustrating. But at the end of the day, if I had tried that, it wouldn't have ended up very well and I would have been more frustrated. So
yeah.
just taking that time, letting myself play violent video games. Also, like city managers and stuff, but playing a lot of Hades too and taking that time to just sit and decompress.
Hmm.
And I know that for some people, certainly if it's work burnout, that may not be an option. But it's trying to do the best with what you have
Yeah.
and also not to punish yourself
Yes.
if you are going through that. I have a number of friends who are going through various forms of burnout who seem to hate themselves through the process, and
Mm,
it's not your fault. The world is really difficult at the moment,
mm.
and a lot of people can't create when there's a presence of fear. If you had to start over again, how would you improve your skills?
How would I improve my skills? See, when I started, I really threw myself into the deep end. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't actually, re-educate myself on the fundamentals. I just wanted to get straight into just drawing whatever I could.
You've had that as a basis,
Yeah,
which is really solid.
yeah. Well, kind of. Not well. I didn't really have a good grasp of anatomy, and I'm an adult at this stage, going back into drawing. You
Mm.
know what I mean? So because I'm so impatient, and like I said, I was so excited by the whole digital, like learning digital
Mm.
stuff. So I was learning things more like the software, like learning Photoshop and learning how to like use it for art and stuff like that. But I wasn't actually learning how to draw the things that I wanted to draw. So a lot of my focus was on kind of drawing people. And, I was doing a lot of fan art at that time as well. So I was drawing all of this stuff, but it didn't really look very good. Because I was focusing on drawing the thing that I see and using the software that I'm trying to learn, but I wasn't actually doing the basics of this is how you draw this part of the anatomy and this is how color theory works and
Mhm.
all of these kind of things that would have benefited me at that time before just diving straight in. So if I were to do it again, I would learn the software, but draw like the things that I needed to educate myself on. So draw anatomy in Photoshop as I'm learning it, learn a little bit about color theory and all those kind of things because it took me, I think, a long time to get a good handle on that. And
Mhm.
it probably didn't necessarily need to take that long. So maybe I would do it like that. But at the same time, I'm not one of those people who likes to think about doing things over again because everything that I've learned up to this point, I have learned because of what I've done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah. It's all been part of the
it's all
process.
been a part of the process, and maybe it hasn't been as efficient as
Hmm.
it could be, but there may be things that I may not have ever done if I had taken a different route, and I may
Yeah.
not have enjoyed it as much. And if I hadn't have enjoyed it at the time, maybe I would have quit, and then I wouldn't
Yeah.
be doing art right now at all. So if I'd been doing all the, boring, fundamental stuff at the beginning when I was finding this joy of digital art, if I put myself through that, I might have just quit. It's
Yeah.
hard to know. It's really, really hard to know. So I don't like to dwell on those things. I'm at the point now for a reason. I
Hmm.
got there eventually, and there's still like it never ends, the learning process.
Oh
So
God.
it
Yeah.
never ever ends. So it's not like I'm saying I've gotten to this point now and everything's great.
I've peaked as art, and
Yeah,
it
like
will never
yeah,
improve from this
exactly. So
point on.
yeah, I those are the things I probably could have done to help, but
Hmm.
they may not have necessarily helped with my enjoyment. So
Yeah.
it's I can look at it from a technical point of view or an emotional point of view, and I don't know
Hmm.
which would be better because
Yeah.
it's just really hard to say. But those are things I could have done technically that would have helped me, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that ultimately learn how to break down shapes
Mm.
into simplified forms because I'm still learning that. And each time I do, I'm like, oh, that looks so much better than what I was like trying to do before. Especially with hair. Like,
Hair
okay,
lost.
don't draw hair by hair. Draw hair in clumps.
Yeah.
I spent years drawing hair by hair. Do not do it. Do it in clumps. It will look better. Add the occasional detail. You will thank me later. It looks so much better when you do that. Okay, right.
That's some great advice. It is. It really is.
Thank you guys if you've stayed this long. Yeah, follow Lorna or follow me. And uh, and
Okay.
I guess we'll hopefully see you again another time. Let us know
Yes.
if you enjoyed this. If not, keep quiet.
Yeah, don't say anything. Don't hurt our fragile little egos, please.
We're delicate little beings.
We really are.
But yeah, we'll catch you another time. Thank you for joining. Okay, thanks. Bye.